Let's read crucial conversations to grow our soft skills. We're in chapter 4, start with heart. Whenever you have a crucial conversation with someone, you're either going to be communicating sensitive content or you might be asking something. In any case, you want to present the best version of yourself. If you're going to ask something from them, you better make sure that you're doing everything that you can, bringing some value to them to the table. And if you're going to communicate something, you better make sure you do this in a kind way if you want to optimize outcomes. So a lot of this chapter is optimizing your mindset. The truth is people can change. This aligns with the concept of assuming positive intent. That's a common talking point in books like Radical Candor. And then some mindfulness and self-awareness. Our bodies are designed to gather data about others, not ourselves. So we need to be extremely reflective on ourselves before we go have this conversation with someone else. Let's work on me first, us second. Before I ask you to change, I want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can. I might not even need to convince you. I might not even need to have a crucial conversation with you. Convincing others is hard. What if I can just be better, just have more skill and take care of the problem myself? Let's prioritize that. And this is a common lens in religious texts. So in the Bible, for example, it would be take the plank out of your own eye before you complain about the speck in other people's eyes, right? By focusing on right motives, you're setting all parties to the conversation up for success. Right motive here would ideally be a shared goal so that if everyone can agree, hey, we want X, even if we disagree about how to get there, you can show up to the conversation and honestly negotiate with positive intent to get to the outcome. After you agree on the motive, you're going to want to stay focused on the outcome that you're trying to seek. Small detail, if you're going to have a conversation, you need to believe that conversation can work. Don't be the person who shows up to the meeting begrudgingly, right? That's just an attitude thing that's going to make everything worse. Okay, so now how do you focus on what you really want? One mental model I'll give you is think about what you would want to say in a behavioral interview. So let's say this conversation leads to some project outcome. What project outcome would you want to describe? Tell a story here. Ideally, you're going to ship a feature, right? You're not going to want to tell a story where the thing fell apart and you quit the company. So tell a story where you negotiated this to success with your peers, and then work backwards from that to your actual plan of action for your meeting. Don't forget to pause and take breaths. Allow the meeting to have some time and space. When thinking about what you want, you're going to have different goals along different timelines. I'd encourage you to refer to stable long-term goals. Again, the behavioral interview is going to be a good mental model. Somebody shoots you a text and says, do you want to go out to dinner? Okay, that's cool, but that's not a stable long-term goal. You're probably going to want to prioritize a crucial conversation over that meal. So here's the clarifying question to help us focus. What should I do right now to help me move towards what I really want? Here we're reminded again to refuse the fool's choice. Reminder back to earlier chapter, the fool's choice is that you're either going to ruin your relationship or be silent. That's the fool's choice. You don't have to choose between these two. Instead, you can say the right thing the right way. I think this double negative mental model is hard to remember. So an easier one I say is say the right thing the right way. To say something the right way means that it's stated in a way that's amenable to implementation and acceptance by the other parties. So why would we reiterate this in the context of mindset and starting with heart and intent? The answer is that the desire to say the right thing the right way, the desire to preserve the relationship is not merely tactical. It is a matter of mindset. So you genuinely want to come to the conversation hoping the best for the other person. A third way to get at this same idea is this Venn diagram where here's what I want, here's what they want, and the conversation should be targeted at the overlap. So this is going to require empathy. That's why it has to do with mindset and intent. So with the crucial conversation, we're not going to focus on what I want, but on what we want. So we start with focusing on what I want, and then we move to an analysis of what we want, which is going to set us up for success. Searching for the elusive and is what they call this. That's the Venn diagram. There's also the improv tactic, which is in improv, basically you never say no, you go along, you say yes and. So you're able to implement your desire into the team by saying yes and. And this is basically the approach. When we move from what I want to what we want, it is a more complex problem. We should be mindful of this and slow down our thoughts. Engage the thinking slow. If you're familiar with Danny Kahneman, System 1 and System 2. This is a System 2 type of thing. Ideally, you're able to set aside time and plan your meeting agenda before you have this crucial conversation. Slow it down. And that's it for chapter 4. So follow for chapter 5. This one is going to deal more about emotional control.